Repaying favors is the norm in our personal lives, but not in the workplace anymore. Yes, there were better days not so long ago when companies still valued their employees. For example, there was time in the not so distant past when most workplaces, like in the US, operated under an implicit agreement. Employees who worked hard at their jobs and stayed loyal to a company were rewarded with job security, health benefits, and other handsome packages. This bargain is a great example of what's known as the norm of reciprocity, repaying one's kindness with another. And reciprocity is a universal component of the moral code that drives human behavior. But it's quite unfortunate that in today's corporate world, reciprocity operates with less force. Moreover, implicit contracts are violated in the corporate world daily. Workplaces not only fail to acknowledge past employee loyalty and contributions, but they also renege on what has been implicitly or explicitly promised. This, for instance, ranges from pensions to retiree health care. Yet outside the work world, reciprocity is almost an automatic reaction, founded on several expectations that good deeds should be repaid. That's how people return favors at the very least. But why do we still adhere to that norm in our personal lives, but not at the office? In this video, I will share a few examples of why companies no longer value employee loyalty. So if you've been dreaming of working under one employer and still hope to rise to the top ranks in the organization, well, you know what? The system is not what it may seem to be. Be on the lookout before you're shown the door, especially when you least expect it. Stick around to find out more. This is ICE, where we teach you the ins and outs of investing, e-commerce, entrepreneurship, and related subjects in between. So be sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on your notifications if you want to see more exciting videos like this. There was a time around World War II that the traditional idea of company loyalty was born. You got hired by a company and they would keep you employed, given good behavior for your career. And in return for 40 years of service, you'd receive a nice gold watch and a pension. But those days don't exist anymore. Only a fraction of employment opportunities offer pensions, and most of those are government related. Most pensions that are still out there are in jeopardy of collapsing under the obligations they owe. On top of that, companies are quick to fire their people when quarterly earnings fall short or a reorganization occurs. This is absolutely their right to do so, especially when times get tough. But here's the rub. When a company's first reaction to a bad quarterly earnings announcement is to cut the workforce by 5 to 10%, how can they ever expect an employee to be loyal? Okay, let's get this straight. How many people do you know that have been working with their current employers for more than 15 years? This number already is quite small, 21% to be exact, but keep in mind that a large majority of this number are also on the verge of retiring. In fact, several studies have hinted that most workers who stick by their employers for more than 2 years get paid 50% less on average, which might be an explanatory factor for this decreasing number. While this might not be true for all jobs, it carries with it a message you should not ignore in this age. If you want to get the most out of your career, you'll probably be working in your prime years. If so, you will be much better off understanding what employers actually value more than anything else. Several crucial factors influence a company's loyalty to their employees, and you should know that these have constantly changed due to several issues, including technology. Now on to number 1. Constantly changing job roles. You see, the thing is, technology is growing rapidly, and the job sector has not been spared either. Most jobs that required human labor in the late 90s can now be accomplished by machines or a piece of software thanks to automation. As such, more and more job roles have become redundant. It's important to understand that employees only want value from you. The truth of the matter is, if your work can be accomplished in a more effective way and at a lesser cost by a machine, why should your employer continue having you? For instance, it makes sense for a company to use an inventory management system for their stock instead of hiring 3 different inventory managers to achieve similar tasks. Besides, technology has also brought about different job roles that didn't exist back then while making others redundant. For example, Today, we have database administrators tasked with handling database issues in an organization as opposed to the traditional IT expert who could oversee a whole lot of different things to do with computers. In this case, an employer will likely be forced to adapt to the new job role or be dropped for someone else with the required skills. What's more, it doesn't matter if you've served the company for decades or just 14 months. Employers want workers who can easily adapt to technological changes, and those who have the upper hand, like fresh graduates, stand a better chance to be absorbed into the system despite being less qualified. Do you see how easily you can be replaced? Employer loyalty has no role here whatsoever. Standardization of tasks. The introduction of computers has increased productivity in the workplace. Most tasks can now be achieved by a single piece of software, unlike when there were no computers. In addition, most of these software or computer applications tended to cut across different tasks in the industry. It's so easy to use Microsoft Excel, for example, when dealing with spreadsheets in any work setup. So instead of hiring a storekeeper to manage the company's stocks or what have you manually, employers would rather opt for the computer software to boost efficiency. As such, companies know they can still bring in a new employee and still manage to be productive without any delays on projects. It's as easy as asking someone, "Have you used WordPress before?" Of course, employers want to work with someone already familiar with most industry tools. But what about globalization? Globalization. The digital era is booming and work can now be accomplished remotely. A significant percentage of people now prefer work from home jobs, especially after the pandemic hit hard in 2020. Today, companies go to the extent of advertising entry-level jobs globally. They know they will have a wide pool of skills to choose from by reaching out to a larger audience worldwide. What's more, employers stand to benefit from individuals who have worked for their competitors. As a result, this has even lowered the chances of companies being loyal to their long-time serving workers. Here's a secret. If your employer can find someone else to do your work at half the price you charge them, trust me, you'll be shown the door. It gets even worse from the fact that there are hundreds of freelancing sites on the web today. Your employer will never shy away from finding someone, quote, better than you, even if they live somewhere very remote, on an island in Lake Turkana, for example. Have you been there, by the way? Don't mind anyway. Here's one of the greatest fears that employers have. Fear of broken organizational structure. It is very natural for humans to have high expectations when they start working for any employer. Usually, you'd be told that you will get a pay rise or promotion based on merit and your relative performance in the long haul. This doesn't happen in most cases, and it's not because employers are liars or don't keep promises either. Instead, something else sits between you and being promoted to a department manager role or something related. What employers fear most is a broken corporate ladder. You can think of this corporate ladder as the ranks you hope to rise as you continue working for your employer. Yes, promotions can be initiated quickly. You'll be happy to have a new job title, bonuses, higher pensions, allowances, and so on. But for your employer, it often comes with various uncertainties. First, if you're promoted, there has to be someone else ready to fill your old position, and most importantly, live up to the company's expectations like you used to. If that someone is an employee who has also been promoted from a lower job rank, it also leaves a gap down there. Anyone can fill that gap, but still, will things run smoothly like before? Often, promotions to a new job role comes with different learning curves, depending on the role in question. The company will have to deal with delayed projects as the newly promoted employee struggles to adapt to the new role. Sadly, this will cost the organization time and, even worse, money. People will have to be trained on their new roles. They may be learning to use particular software with which one is unfamiliar. But the truth is, no employer loves or wants to go through such. All they want is work to progress as usual with no delays at the very least. Therefore, you should be least surprised when you see your employer hiring a skilled outsider to replace a retired senior UI/UX designer. The outsider will have an advantage over insiders who think this is the perfect time to benefit from promotions. Furthermore, employers prefer working with former employees of their competitors. It's just how the system works. There you have it, factors that are always at play when company loyalty is at stake. You should be glad that you now know what most employers want from you: value. The moment you become less valuable to your employer, you can expect you'll be sent packing in the next couple of days or even weeks. It doesn't take long. Do your maths keenly. That was it for today. What is the longest time you've ever worked at one company, and did you ever get promoted? Feel free to hit the like button if you found this video useful in any way. Subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to have your notifications bell on to be notified when we post a new video. See you in the next video.